So when we talk about that time in a baby's life whereby it's feeding and it's sleeping and then its eyes are open and it's looking at the world and it's being engaged with and interacted with by its parents, what happens is that that experience of sitting down and singing a little riddle or little diddle to your child in like, hey diddle diddle, the cat and the fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon, and the little child is looking at you with kind of funny eyes and laughing maybe and doing some other like funny little features. Those senses that are picking up that information are not just direct vision, peripheral vision, hearing, sense of depth, social interaction, picking up all of the definition of your face as you're making these expressions. They're looking at you going, wow, and it's pulling it all in. You as an adult may not understand that this is happening because the child is not expressing it to you in any conscious way, because our lives unfortunately are so busy that we forget about the seconds in time that make a difference in our memories, and i.e. that interaction. Some people do, but some people don't. Some people do remember. So what happens is with that experience of how the child is interacting with you sensorily are extremely important. So when you sing to your child at 4, 5 weeks old, 6 weeks old, 8 weeks old, 2 months old, 3 months old, it's pulling in all of those vowels, syllables, nuances, and all of the language characteristics of you as a parent. It's taking them in. It's just not able to express it, but it's remembering everything. And when it collates and has this library of sounds and this library of information, what's going to happen is that if you're continuing your nurturing path, then what's going to happen is that child is going to be able to express itself very early on, which is going to make it fit into its environment in a happy and content manner. And it's that contentment is which what all parents want. They want independent children who are free thinking, able to reason, and able to converse, and also to be in control of their own happiness. And that's what's really, really important. So when we look at the sensory development of a child, this is what we're trying to do when we sing to our children and we do all that. That is the positive side of sensory interaction or sensory development within a parent and a child relationship. The negative aspect of it, and this is why I'm doing this video, this is the sole reason I'm doing this video. I have come across in the clinic so many times cases whereby parents, unfortunately, because the environment in which we live in is so social media driven, this is going to be a social media piece, but it's going to be purely for the benefit of the children out there and their parents, is that what happens is that the high definition screens that are used to use as kind of pacifiers, and basically what happens is that high definition screen that's placed in front of your child's eyes, the direct vision between the child's eye and the screen is picking up all that detail, all those colors, all those high definition events, and the little movement that's on the screen. And it's developing the experience. The experience is framing the development of the direct vision in the ophthalmic center of the brain at a hyperplasic level, meaning a significantly faster and bigger level than all of the other senses. And this is where the difficulty lies, in that the senses then are going to get skewed to one side. And remember, the child has watched a screen at 5 months old, and the child has then gone to sleep, and that food in the baby's tummy has gone to develop the pathways of that single sense at a cost of all the other senses. And so what inevitably will happen is, or not what inevitably will happen, but what can happen in cases, is that the sensory imbalance takes place, and we get a depression of audible communication through speaking, motor function through movement, the auditory sense will be driven down, as will peripheral, and all of the senses will be negatively affected. And This then moves on to other difficulties that you have, which is in relation to the actual the ability for the child to speak. So you'll have a drop in speak. You'll have a change in linguistic characteristics. So the child will develop some type of not lisp or some kind of speech delay, speech impediment, where it tries then to catch up on it, but it's not quite able to do it. And this is where we have the difficulty that they have, and it becomes a challenge then for them. And it's extremely tough. It's extremely difficult to see that, and that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I've spoken to a number of different people about it. I don't believe that it's a widely spoken subject, and I don't believe that people can see the effect of how their life, and nobody is to blame. That's really important to understand that. Nobody would be directly to blame, because the screens, the social media, the systems are so addictive in their nature and their quality, and the people who have designed them have done so purposefully to have parents, children, people spend as much time on that device as possible and putting it all in. And what happens is that's economics. That's somebody's making money on it, and unfortunately, it's detrimental to children, to babies, and it's imperative for parents to think to themselves, well, wait a minute, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to try to nurture my child until the child gets to 2 years of age, and if the child can get to 2 years of age, you're set. Your child is going to be in a great place, a fantastic place. One question that came up was, what about if I'm breastfeeding my child and I've got the television on in the background, but my child is facing away from the screen? Unfortunately, you can pick up peripheral vision, and peripheral vision is twice as powerful than direct vision. So it will have an effect, or can have an effect. So this is what the takeaway is that high definition screens should be, I don't believe, limited. I think they should be taken out of the equation of young children under the age of 2 years of age, until they get to 2, and after that, it's up to parents to do whatever they think. But I think your child's potential will be fully realised the sooner that you become aware of that possibility, of the negative consequence of that. If we're meant to fit into a society and an environment which is interactive, if it's not an interactive society and we want a different type of human being, then I think we will get that, and it won't be a positive thing, I don't believe.